this report was based on the fact that the station or the polling areas that they went to were actually no disturbances. So they can actually come out. They can actually come. They can based on where they visited. Then it makes it it makes it it, make, it makes it easier to say that they were actually fair and fair. However, based on the news across Nigeria, the violence was in Rivers State. 10 people were killed, including the APC campaign director for one of the local governments. In Lagos, some people lost their lives, according to the reports. Journalists were attacked. So I I I don't want to be sarcastic, but I need to ask. These are chaplains of, in quotes, um, these are people who should speak truth to the information, to what they see. So, like I said, based on where they went, that's what they saw, and I can't challenge that because I wasn't there at that particular point in time. So that's, let me leave it at that. And like I continue to say, there's no need for violence can never solve anything. There's no need for protest. Those who feel aggrieved, let's go through the proper legal process, which for me always sets the necessary precedents for the future. Um, when you go through the court of law, irrespective of how you think, or what you think, or how you feel about the Nigerian judicial system, eh, believe me, they've interpreted various laws and legislation in ways that one precedents have been set across Nigeria, and those cases have been used to move a number of things forward. That's the only way we can move forward. The elections are over. Election season is over. I always tell Nigerians, don't wait for another 4 years. The next thing is, let's see if there are going to be local government elections. Let's participate in them. Let's be aware of what's going on in our communities. Let's hold our reps, accountable for what you say what they say they want to do. Let's get involved in the local politics of wherever we are. Let's understand what the issues are. Let's understand what the needs are, and let's get our representatives within our various wards to come and speak to us and let them tell us what they're doing, how they're going about it. We should change the narrative of politics to, oh, it's a dirty game. Yes, it could be, and it is all over the world. In some places it's mudslinging, in some places it's death. But let's ask these questions, and these are questions we need to ask of our representatives. I know, for as long as, one, you've won an election, two, the people have voted for you, then you should be able to speak to the people. And the earlier we start, or from now, to start to ask those questions. You said this, you haven't seen this area hasn't been done, and so on and so forth. Then we will put the people in public office, under the needed scrutiny for them to get things done. And let's hold let's hold them accountable for what they promised they were going to do. And let's see, even if they're not getting it done, what are the challenges? How do we help them? And that for me is how we build a better Nigeria. And I'll leave it at that.
I was reading this article that the head of this IPCSL mission also goes further to condemn the ethnic sentiments and violence recorded in parts of the country, and also, just like you said, urge those who feel aggrieved to seek redress in courts. All right, well, let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. And you can also tweet at Smooth981. Catch the live stream up on YouTube as well at Smooth981. And this one says the governor of Lagos State has ordered security agencies to arrest the perpetrators of attacks recorded in local government areas across the state on Saturday's governorship and state house of assembly elections. And he also hailed those who refuse to be divided by hateful and hurtful ethnic profiling in the states.
Better late than never. um, Congratulations to the governor for his re-election, first and foremost. Um, well, he said he's ordered the arrest of suspects. If you didn't arrest them on the election day, I don't know if you know them, whether you know where they are, whether there is intelligence or information about who they were, and so on and so forth. So let's wait and see what happens. Um, like we continue to say, first we like well, I don't know in a number, like I say every time, first we must be Nigerians. If we want to move this country forward, then
Mm.
first we must think Nigeria, not tribe, not tongue, you know. And I always come back to one of the verses in the old national anthem: though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we must stand. And in brotherhood we must stand across Nigeria, you know. um, the beauty of Nigeria is in its diversity, and when if we lose that opportunity for us to grow, when you look at the talents that we have in terms of human capacity that we continually lose, although we still have a lot of them, um, then it's important that we understand that one, election is not do or die. If you lose an election today, doesn't mean that you are not going to come back and win an election 4 years from today.
Mm.
You just need to set the right agenda, speak to the right people, not just criticize the opposition, but share information that could help, or strategies that could help to build a system, whether it's your state or it's your local government, and so on. And for the politicians, let them open their ears and listen. 2023 has taught me that our votes will count, you know, irrespective of how Nigerians feel. But we have that power, and that power is in numbers. And when we start to educate ourselves on the need for you to vote on an election day, the need for our children to be educated on the importance of your voter's card, and your giving back to Nigeria, you know what Nigeria has given to you. I'm a full beneficiary of Nigeria, and I say it, and I will continually say it proudly, you know. So let's see what the security apparatus will do based on the governor's statement, and we do hope that at the end of the day we would get some of these perpetrators, maybe not all, but some of them, and then we would speak to the fact that the diversity of Lagos is what makes Lagos what it is. The taxpayers are diverse, the business people are diverse, the communities are diverse, and that's what brings together the 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 beauty of Lagos that we see,
Mm.
and that I have been a part of since I was born, you know, and that's where we must be. You know, we must be our neighbors' keepers. You know, there is no, we are all Lagosians. For as long as we reside here, we pay our taxes here, we try to develop the communities that we live in and provide some form of what's it called, um, voice to what Lagos is or what Lagos should be. Then, believe me, we must build Lagos together.
All right, let's go on to some messages coming through. Nee says the election process has improved tremendously. The problem is more of the people. And Joseph says it's scary that despite the tribal bigots who made all sorts of threats profiling people on social media, no punishment for their bad behavior. This seed could germinate if the aggrieved and victims are not tendered. And Abbas says this election has brought a lot of surprises. Incumbents lost their seats. The process is not perfect or near that, but it has actually improved from what we used to have. Cases of overvoting were reduced. It can only get better, and we will keep getting it improved. And okay, let's go on to this article from The Nation. Still on Lagos State. Um, Lagos has okayed a 20% salary increase for workers. Now, the beneficiaries are mainstream civil servants, local government employees, and personnel of the State Universal Basic Education Board. This was confirmed yesterday in a paper, a circular signed by the head of service, Hakeem Muri Okola, who said that the governor had approved the increment by 20%.
This had been in the news just before the election, so I
Mm.
guess this is to ratify it now to the Lagos State workers that there's a 20% increase. Um, the first the arrears for January will be paid along with March, and the arrears for February will be paid along with their April salary. So congratulations to the Lagos State workers. Increase in personal income tax to the Lagos State government. Oh, we have to face that reality because they're going to take the taxes up front.
Right.
Kudos to them. They should, and I hope this will boost their ego to make things work better in Lagos and look forward to a better Lagos. Believe me, if we can, if Lagos gets it right in terms of the revenue that is generated, in terms of the application of the revenue, in terms of the workers' condition, and then it continually becomes and remains the role model of how to do business in Nigeria. Because if the ease of doing business or the ease of moving around Lagos becomes better, then you can imagine what will happen across the 36 states of Nigeria. So congratulations to the Lagos State workers.
All right, let's take a break and we'll continue the conversation on the other side. This is Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1.
My name is Gucci Franklin, and you're listening to Smooth Breakfast.
Are you done with Freshly Pressed?
Sorry?
Every time. You just be blushing. If I ask you who's making you blush now, you say, who else? My peace of mind now. Every time. You be saying, I don't joke with my multi-million naira investment, so when I stare at him, it's all in the people now. It's got the reading, and I've got the blues. It's the come to my store. Really, Joe? You can't understand. Sorry, oh, lover girl. Very soon, you pick your bag and say, I need to go to my home sweet home. My baby, my ride or die needs my
We'll
attention.
go on to 5.
I just can't go anywhere without my
What?
baby. Stop
5.
now.
We'll go on to 5.
If you like,
Well,
call
five.
him your shabby in the back. Love no be for my child.
Back up your love with Asher. Protect everything you care about with Consolidated Hallmark Insurance. Visit chiplc.com to get started. If you love it, insure it with Consolidated Hallmark Insurance.
When I become rich and famous, all these faces, you know who I am, 'cause I'll be a superstar.
6.
Hi people, my name is Praise, and if you want good music, stay tuned to Smooth 98.1.
Consolidated Hallmark Insurance. Anxiety away, value assured.
You're listening to Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1. It's Zibby and our analyst this morning, Uade. We're looking at the news stories, and as always, we love to get your thoughts. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know your opinions. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 You can also tweet at Smooth981, and we're streaming live on YouTube as well. So you can post a comment underneath the live stream and catch it. Just search for Smooth981. We're moving on to this one from Daily Post. The federal government has earned 10.1 trillion naira in revenue from the value added tax under President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Now, the latest National Bureau of Statistics report shows that VAT earnings continue to rise annually throughout 8 years. And collections in 2019 amounted to 1.2 trillion, in 2020 1.5 trillion, in 2021 2.1 trillion, and in 2022 2.5 trillion naira.
So two things. Yes, it continues to increase. So one part of it is that from 2020, the rates went up by 50%. So of course, you're bound to expect some increase. The question here is the amount that is generating this VAT, in real terms, because look at when it started to hit the 2 trillion mark, 2020, when there was a 50% increase. So if I take that as the basis of, let's even look at even in 2020, so it was 2021 that I hit the 2 trillion mark. So when I look at 2021 when it was increased, it was 1.5 trillion. Um, it only increased by about 600 billion, which is about 30% of just about 40% of the previous month, and then by 400 billion in 2022, which is about 30% or thereabout. So those increases have not, it just remained stagnant for me, which goes to show that it's just the percentage increase. I don't think the value and the volume of transactions that have generated VAT in the last 2-3 years have been significant in comparison to when you look at the figures have just barely remained constant between 25 and 35% every year. So is there really a great improvement? I'm not sure. In terms of spending, this is what, because the more you spend on items that are vatable, the more VAT that comes in. So it just goes to show us that the spending pattern has really not changed and has just remained a bit constant. So by increasing the rates is grown in, instead of growing in leaps and bounds, it has just grown fractionally on a yearly basis in terms of spending. That's the way I view it. But congratulations to the administration. 10 trillion is a lot of money, but we're still in debt. We're borrowing some more. Despite that, we need to improve one, the economic basis in Nigeria, so that more people will be able to have that spending money on consumption goods that are vatable, food, which constitutes between 50 and 60% of the households consumption pattern doesn't fall into VAT. I'm not telling you to VAT food, but we must be able to have that this extra disposable income to increase the bottom line for me in terms of VAT collection. And I haven't seen this in this trend, in my own opinion. Others might differ. It's one thing for the numbers to increase, because of rates, in comparison to numbers increasing because of increased spending, which is really what I don't see.
All right, let us know what your thoughts are. 0809 Nedu says that is more of an investment of the people on security, healthcare, infrastructure, etc. The real question is, what is the return on their investment? And Ajayi says the continued scarcity of the Naira notes is because the CBN governor continues to illegally occupy his position despite the Supreme Court ruling. That's not quite accurate, Ajayi.
That's not accurate.
No. The ruling has not said anything about his position.
About him being fired.
Yes. And the CBN has now said that the old notes, in compliance with the Supreme Court's ruling, are legal tender up until the end of the year. Now, the question is, where are the notes?
We should ask the CBN.
All right. So let's move on to the story. And this one is coming from this day. The stock market of the Nigerian exchange yesterday opened the new trading week, extending its losing streak for the 7th consecutive session as investors' weak sentiments trading down market capitalization by 16 billion naira.
Wow. Started since just after the first elections, and it's just been going down. When you consider the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, then we really need to sit back. One, the president-elect needs to sit back to understand the dynamics of the things that he needs to do. And why do I say this? Just before the elections of February 25th, we could see that positive anticipation in the markets. Stock market was growing, bond rates were, Nigerian bond was a bit, attractive because there was this belief, that with all the things that were going to happen and all the things that were going to come out of the elections, then we were going to start to see in which direction economically we're going to go. And I've continually maintained, just before the elections I maintained, and now I would still maintain, that the president-elect can deliver on the economy, and I believe that he can, because is an economy focusing president. He believes that businesses should be able to do business in the right frame of doing business. Um, Whether the change in terms of ease of doing business in Nigeria as a whole, there will be that sweeping. Their policies, their yeah, there are policies to drive that, but how quickly would you make that workable in the system that we have? So there's no issue on that. In terms of when you look at his manifesto, in terms of dealing with all the critical issues that will drive the economy, yeah, clearly pointed to a number of things that needs to be done in terms of working with the youth, in terms of providing um, security, which will provide the enabling environments um, that would create the ease of doing business. And these are the questions that investors really want to see. The naira, the cash, whether you call it cash swap or some people call it cash swap, some people call it cash seizure by the CBN. How quickly do you change the dynamics of ensuring that you have enough currency in circulation, whether it's the new notes or the old notes, preferably the new notes, so that you can quickly, as you go on, move out the old notes, because I'm not sure there are really enough old notes in the system today. So getting out, printing new notes to maybe bring into the economy to at least between 700 billion and a trillion naira in cash, so that the system can start to move again. The beauty of it is also the fact that when you consider that the financial services providers have realized that their infrastructure is not adequate enough, something that I had mentioned, despite the fact I supported this, and I knew that you needed to take the bull by the horn at a particular point in time, which for me this policy did do. They're beginning to realize that collaborations, partnerships, and how you're going to improve the infrastructure as a whole is something that has to be done as quickly as possible. So what will the new incoming government put in place to ensure that these things can be done, whether it's a bit of tax holiday here and there, and get these investments into the system, like we saw, or we saw with telecoms, and the ability to move from 3G to 4G and 5G in the space of 2.5 years. These are the things we need to start looking at. Can he do it? Oh yes, I believe he can. Does he have the team? Yes, I guess he will be able to select that team. But the question is, how quickly can those things done? What are your 180-day priorities to get investors to change their perspective on Nigeria? Is a huge place for investment, and your returns can be phenomenal, because you have the people,
Right.
you have the population, educated, different skills, cheap labor, who will gather additional skills, and for me, these are just huge opportunities that I see. Will that be done? How quickly will it be done? Let's see how it goes.
All right. Daisy says the governor has graciously ordered for the police to arrest the thugs. It did seem like he was silent throughout incidents. Is this for show? Let's go on to another story, and this one comes from Punch. Now, UK Chatterhouse says it will offer teacher training programs to contribute to the development of education in Lagos State and Nigeria. Now, it's a British boarding school, and they are opening, or they say they will be opening, an international school here in Lagos next year.
Okay. So teacher training, fantastic. Opening the school, for me, more money needs to be paid for those who can afford it. Because he would have affiliation with the UK, with the British system, with the British original school. And for me, also, is what kind of incentives do they give to those gifted children? And when I say gifted children now, I'm talking about those who come from the poor background, to be able to get, whether it's scholarships, and how many are they going to be looking at in terms of developing them and providing the opportunity for them. How many teachers, or how are they going to work with the states or the federal government in ensuring that the teacher training school, that is provided, is standard, is bringing up to date the way education is being run across the world today, and not that profit mentality that is the standard of private institutions. And it's not only in Nigeria, it's across the world. What kind of public private partnerships will come in to be beneficial to the government, those within the public service, to get the kind of skills that is required in education today, in partnership with the federal government, with the state governments. And these are things that need to be looked at and need to be agreed. Yes, it's important that they have an arm here which will provide that enabling space, where the teacher training college or the teacher training school is going to be built, or whether it's going to be a system that is dual, virtual, physical, and all these things that, like I said, we have huge opportunities for investment, and these are potential investments that we're looking at in Nigeria. Are we ready for it? That's the question.
All right, one last message. This one is from Abbas. Abbas says, teachers training, which will eventually lead to sending them to their country. Okay. All right, so that's all the time that we have for Freshly Pressed this morning. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your messages. And of course, thank you to my analyst, Uade, as well, for coming through.
Thank you for always having me in the studio. Have a great week.
Do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.
The headlines, the stories, the news.
Have you stopped?